There's a movie with Naomi Watts. It's about terribly destructive tidal wave. I forget the title. Excellent movie. It came out. It's probably like 10 years ago. Just a terrific movie. But there's a scene. There's a beach. It's in some fairly exotic places. Beach. I'm thinking Thailand, but I don't know. And the tide's coming in, but beachgoers looking and saying, "Gee, the tide suddenly is going out. Why is the tide suddenly reversed?" And you can't see it because it's away on the horizon, but there's a tidal wave, there's a tsunami coming, and it's sucking all the water into it. And so the tide is going backwards. And, it's this ominous. So the reason I've been thinking about it is that the price of oil is now $70. It's as of today, which is July 7th. And it said we don't know where the price is going to go from this, but the big surprise is everybody thought, well, it's going to be $140. It's 20% of the world. So it's even cut back. Even all right, it's open, but it's like a tenth of the traffic. And it's still a delayed reaction rate. It's short. Oh, what are we going to do without oil? It's like the 70s. It was, oh my God, the world's getting out of oil, and of course it was baloney because they manipulate the markets and so forth. But this looks like a very real shortage. And they're saying, why is it dropping? Well, the Saudis, just have to get a lot of cash. Okay, but it's pre-war prices. How is it that it's pre-war prices and we just had several months without all this? Well, the Chinese have a lot. They're really smart because they store a lot. But, gee, the price is really cheap. And I just learned a term called demand destruction. Well, I learned it a few weeks ago. But when price goes down, it's because people don't want the oil anymore. So why would they? It's so essential, and but they just, it's like during COVID, people didn't do a lot of business. You just didn't show up at work, and everything kind of ground to a halt. Nobody drove anywhere because there was no business to do. Oh. So somebody thinks something's going to happen to the business environment in the future where we're going to not need so much oil. So, do you think some people are betting that we're going to have some colossal crash, that the stock market is now 200% of GDP, like Buffett says, and it's never ever been as overrated as it has been? That maybe something's coming, that we're not going to be doing a lot of business in the future? Maybe there might be something to that. So the other movie thing I wanted to mention was, we're talking about running out of money, and we're going to have a $1 trillion interest payment. It's like, the credit card, we're going to pay down the how much we owe, but we're going to owe $1 trillion worth of interest. That's just interest, baby. That's not buying anything except time. That's renting the money. And, we seem to come up a little short. So everybody, let's just cut those poor people off because, how could Europe look at that shameful welfare state that they have in Europe and says, they haven't been, and they got to pay more of their their war bills. I mean, they got to pay 5% of their GDP on, we got to start ponying up some military spending. Military spending. Well, let's see. Since World War II, the United States has spent about $36 trillion on defense. The Russians really are. They're so scary. They're really scary. We have to spend 5 or 6 times what they spend on defense because, they're a real threat. And Stalin was a monster. Hitler was a monster. We got to make sure we have to have a sturdy defense. But I just read Eisenhower a little bit back. We have military-industrial complex. The idea of military spending is welded into the income of the United States. You can't make an argument about military spending these days. I mean, Trump is bragging, I rebuilt the military. We got to spend $1.5 trillion. Let's look at military spending and how great it's been. After World War II, we had We had a deficit. We almost were up to 100% of GDP in terms of debt. We paid it down. We had high taxes for rich people. We had 90% marginal tax rates. We had free college for veterans that were returning, and veterans could buy houses for, and I mentioned this earlier, buy houses for twice their yearly pay. Now you can't do that because the economy's wrecked. Well, the profligate spending on government, smaller government, government is spending like an idiot. Well, we spend more than half of the rest of the world on defense. We spend 3 times what China. China's the big new scary. Oh, China. Well, what did Vietnam get us with China? Is China so? Oh, they got the atomic bomb. They're gonna. Oh, China. This is 50 years ago. Whoa, we gotta have the Vietnam War. So we gin up some phony baloney excuse. 50,000 American service people get killed, and we come out of it broke. We come out of it that the dollar has to devalue, that we can't support the price of gold, that we're going to have to start exporting our debt to the rest of the world. Well, we defend the rest of the world. Who asked us to defend the rest of the world? Who asked us to spend the money that we did? Who asked us to build up a nuclear arsenal as enormous as it's been? John F. Kennedy famously missile gap. Oh, we gotta get on our horses here because Russians got a missile gap. There was no missile gap. It's total baloney. Because how do we get us to spend as much money on missiles to be as overwhelmingly intimidating so nobody thinks of picking a fight with the United States? Nobody's going to get. We've got nuclear power. Okay, well, except for the poor Vietnamese who are packing armaments on the backs of mules. We're intimidated. We're going to do exactly what you say, America. You got the nuclear bomb. Iraq's only recently. That was a tremendous success. Wow, what defense bought for us, man. Here we go. And the Russians roll tanks in Hungary. Well, we're not going to pick a fight with them. They got nuclear power. So this is why I brought up Cat's Cradle, which is the ultimate Cold War novel, wildly underrated. But again, on it, if you know your Cat's Cradle, I mentioned last time, there's a device on an island which is a political device as well as a pseudo-nuclear device, a pseudo-end-of-the-world weapon technology. But the argument is you create this fantasy dynamic, this show, this reality television. And what it is, it's cops and robbers. It's the state is going to chase down an illegal religion that everybody secretly believes in, but they got to be closeted because the state's going to get them. And then the religion is always just running out of the hands of the state, which makes a big cops and robbers thing that we're going to chase down our big enemy. So we've created this enemy. We've created this Cold War dynamic where the Russians hate us. We hate the Russians. Russians are godless heathens. And the Russians say back to us, oh, we're godless heathens. Is that right? Look how you treat your black people. That's on TV. We just got there. You land of the free? Great. So we've got hypocrisy on both sides. It's both sides are full of baloney. Both sides create this perceived, and it was no fun. It was real scary. And there's some real stuff going on here. And Stalin wasn't a joke. And there's real evil in the hearts of men. But you got to balance it with there's good in the hearts of mankind as well. And you got to maybe create through art some perceived balance, some game that you're going to play that it doesn't take it so seriously, that you're going to have poverty, that you're going to have suffering that's unnecessary, that you're going to have death in war that's unnecessary. It's an artist's vision, but it's a vision that for me works. And finally, I'll leave you with this one last little movie thing, which is Star Wars. Remember the big Star Wars movie was Luke, I am your father, right? Mind blowing. What? Dad is the evil Peter Pan. On the in the movie, Cyril Richard, I remember, and it took me years as a child to realize. Wait a minute, the guy who plays Dad, the actor who plays Dad, also plays Captain Hook. I am the meanest. I'm the who's the dirtiest. How many times have boys in particular, girls too, you look to Dad. Dad's the heavy hand. You wait till your father gets home, because Dad's going to play, it's going to be my way. I remember my father saying, it's going to be my way, and that's it. No, you can't do that, Dad. And you play Mom off against Dad. But it's a balance. It's an inherent type of balance, and it's based on the truth. It's a lie that makes us see the truth. It's the art that makes us see the truth. Through theater, we see there's good and evil in everybody. Use your imagination to try to strike the balance. And, eventually you got to get real. You got to use your imagination, but eventually you got to grow up.